Hello, everybody. Today we're going to take a break from the usual style of video, which showcases my glorious victories over my opponents, and instead do a kind of how not to play display. So I have two games where I make mistakes that cost me the game. Right? Where really I should have won, uh, and I did not. I believe there's at least one serious misplay by my opponent as well in one of these games. Um, so let's just get into them. So this first game, I'm playing against MathMech. I am going first, and this was actually the game. This was a rank up game from Diamond 5 to Diamond 4. Now that we're back at the beginning of our monthly ranked journey, I have to say I really hate the month to month grind. I really wish they made it last a bit longer. Okay, here we go. So as I said, I'm going first, and I guess we can talk about it. I pull off just a beautiful, perfect Marincess going first combo. I already have the trap card in my hand, so I do not make the link 3 coral triangle to search it out. I only have one copy of the trap card. So I go from link 1 to link 2, and you'll notice that I save, right? This is not the first time I use Blue Tang as material for a link summon. That's how I started things out. But I saved the graveyard effect for when I summon Sea Angel, so Sea Angel can't be hit by Ash Blossom, and I get my field spell, Battle Ocean. Alright, pick up another copy of Mandarin. I am running 2 copies of Mandarin right now, just to keep the deck as consistent as possible. Link off into our link to Crystal Heart. Remember that Crystal Heart, when you make a monster with Crystal Heart and you Battle Ocean on the field, that monster, in this case Aqua Argonaut, is invulnerable to your opponent's card effects. And now we bring back our starter, Blue Tang, for next turn if we survive. And I also have Ice Jade Ran Agarine, and I use that to make a level 10 Synchro. Our Geimer Agarine, which will stop my cards from being destroyed or banished and will give me a banish. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of interaction. This is pretty much as good as it gets for a Marincess end board. Alright, so as I said, my opponent is playing MathMech. And MathMech is a deck that can play through a ton of disruption. Now, in a situation, MathMech has multiple ways to play. Just like Marincess, going first, you have a clear strategy, right, of setting up a board just like this, versus if you're going second, you tend to have a different strategy. If you have the power, you want to OTK by bringing out Great Bubble Reef, summoning back another link 2 or 3 from the banish pile with Great Bubble Reef's effect, and then using Bubble Reef as link material for Zelantis and wiping the board and wiping out your opponent. That's the going second ideal for Marincess. Similarly, MathMech has a clear going first strategy where usually they summon most variants. There are a few different ways you can go. Summon Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid, and they send the spell Trap Negate to the graveyard, and then they set Super Factorial and they might have set up another negate or two, like the counter trap, and they set up a board that you can't break. And then going second, they also have an OTK oriented strategy. So MathMech can take you out with either Dark Fluid, that's a Link 5, and they can use Dark Fluid and MathMech Multiplication, which is exactly what you're going to see in this replay. They can, it's very rare, but there's another OTK machine, MathMech Final Sigma, which is a Synchro monster that's unaffected. It's an unaffected monster, just like Aqua Argonaut here. Or they can kill you with Access Code Talker as well, and MathMech Multiplication. So they have multiple avenues to OTKing you, and they can play through a ton of disruption. So even with 4 pieces of disruption, I'm actually in serious danger, and I have to play my negates and interactions very carefully. And I don't. What I do is the first 2 negates are good. The third one is iffy, and the last one, my Marincess Wave, is an absolute no-no. Don't do this. So yeah, the key for MathMech, especially with Marincess Wave, is you want to recognize which play they're going for. If they're going for Access Code Talker, and usually what they'll do is they'll summon Update Jammer. That's how you usually know. They're going for an Access Code Talker FTK. They'll summon a monster called Update Jammer, or they'll summon a Link monster called G-Golem Crystal Heart during their combo. So if you know that's going to happen, you're going to want to play Marincess Wave before Access Code Talker hits the field, because you will not be able to use it in response to anything Access Code Talker does. That's part of its effects. If you can tell that they're not doing that, and instead they're going to go for, if they're going to go for Final Sigma OTK, I don't know what to tell you. That'd be crazy. Almost no one plays that these days. Instead, if they're going to go for the Dark Fluid FTK, you can use Marincess Wave on Dark Fluid. And that's where you should save it. So save your Marincess Wave for as late in the combo as you possibly can. So, because Marincess Wave, if they're going for the Access Code Talker FTK, Marincess Wave will make your monsters invincible, and Access Code Talker will not be able to just pop your monsters. Now, we don't have to use it. We can be a little more patient with Wave because of Geimer Agering's effect, which prevents your monsters from being destroyed or banished. And so that means that if this MathMech player knows what they're doing, they will only go for, not for Access Code Talker, because they know they won't be able to destroy my monsters, but instead go for the Dark Fluid OTK. In which case, we're supposed to save Marincess Wave for the very end. And like somewhere in the back of my head, I knew this, but I still didn't follow it. And instead, I played what I like to call Hope Yu-Gi-Oh!, where I used all of my interactions early, hoping that whatever they had left in their hand wasn't good enough. Wasn't enough to keep comboing, and I would just stop them dead in their tracks and win. Don't play Hope Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially unless for some reason, maybe you play Triple Tactics Talent and you know exactly what's in their hand. I don't know. But don't play Hope Yu-Gi-Oh!, alright? Especially against a deck like MathMech, always assume they have what they need to keep going or to out you. So, that was my main mistake, was playing Hope Yu-Gi-Oh! And using my Marincess Wave too hastily. So they start with Signet Mining, and The thing with Ash Blossom against Math Mech is there's no such thing as a perfect choke point for Math Mech. They have so many ways to continue their combo that one Ash Blossom isn't going to hurt them very much. So I just Ash Blossom basically the first opportunity, just use it up and disrupt them a little bit. If they're opening Signet Mining like this, often, not always, like here, they had a fine hand. Often, their hand isn't very good, and they need to use Signet Mining to really get going. Here, I guess, you could argue it was bait, but in reality, if they get another Math Mech card into their hand, that's only going to make their combo stronger, so it's perfectly fine to take it out. Okay, now they play Small World. And I use Aqua Argonaut's spell Trap Negate to stop Small World. Again, this is a perfectly fine negate. Again, so this is a card you could, some, in rare cases, even play in Marincess. But this is a great card to, if you're kind of bricked, this card will get you out of the brick and get you started. So, you do need to add, right? You can see you need a monster from your deck that is the same type, attribute, level, attack, and defense. Banish it, and then add a monster with all those same traits. So sometimes you have to make your deck bigger to add cards that will accommodate these requirements. So that's why it's not seen too much in Marincess, because it makes your deck fatter most of the time. But if you've got like a 60 card Marincess pile, it might be a good choice. But the reason I pretty much always stop Small World if I can is because Small World can be used to put a kaiju in their hand. And Math Mech I don't think typically runs kaijus, but you can't, or even like Kurakara Div Incarnate, something that will absolutely ruin your day. So you really need to stop this card when you can, because otherwise you're probably going to get kaiju to Kurakara. So I stop it, and again, if they get another card in their hand, they're banishing a card out of their hand, but they're just getting something better. So again, might as well stop it. And of course, they've got Circular. Of course they do. Yeah. And here, as you can see, this guy is barely getting started with his Math Mech combo, and I've used 3 of my 4 pieces of interaction. And again, I'm kind of playing Hope Yu-Gi-Oh! I am hoping that those 2 cards left in their hand aren't going to be enough. Right? And that I'm stopping it right here. I've done this once or twice, taking out Sigma. I just wouldn't do it. The other thing I'm kind of trying to do is, even if they get most of their combo done and they get the trap card, I'm trying to make sure that there aren't 3 Math Mech monsters in the graveyard for the trap card when they use the trap card on turn 3. But really, you need to be on the lookout for OTK combos in this situation. And again, I could have been patient and waited until much later in the combo to use this, because, Math Mech decks aren't summoning Baron de Fleur 1/3 of the way through their combo like Super Heavy Samurai does, like Vanadium often does, or Punk. So I don't need to be in a rush with Geimer's effect. If they had, Raigeki or something crazy, they would have tried to use it already to bait this effect out. So I was really too hasty with this, and of course they have not 1 but 2 circulars in their hand, and they haven't, as you just saw, they hadn't even used their normal summon. And again, here I go. This is just terrible. This is just awful, because The next step in the Mathmech combo is to summon an Xyz monster that will add a Mathmech card from the deck to the hand, and it's usually the trap card. So there was pretty much no, I mean, what am I doing? Right? Again, negating circular with wave is generally not good, but I still do it here, again, hoping that I will stop their combo by doing this. And again, I'm playing Hope Yu-Gi-Oh! So now I have no interactions left. Xyz, Elimbertion. This is Mathmech's equivalent of Marincess Dive, summoned from the graveyard. And yep, standard link climb for Mathmech. Splash Mage. Link Decoder. Yep, which will bring itself back from the graveyard. Oh, and they even got they can even do the link summon from the hand. Amazing. And this transcode talker is probably where I should have used my banish when it uses its effect. If I had my banish left. But I could have saved it for Dark Fluid. I could have used my banish on Heat Soul. And there's Dark Fluid. And the other thing I did, so this is the second thing, is, and I actually am still not totally sure. So the second thing is I actually didn't read Dark Fluid. I didn't know this. So Dark Fluid here can attack monsters a number of times each. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase up to the number of different attributes it has. So it adopts the attribute of the monster you sent to the graveyard. So it starts off dark and then becomes earth. And we get Mathmech multiplication, and it multiplies not the original attack, but just its attack. So this goes up to 5,500 and gets doubled, and it's got 2 attributes, so it can attack monsters twice. 1, right? And I thought I'd survive. I didn't realize it would attack a second time. And I lose. So with Mathmech in particular, be patient. They don't really play board breakers. So, except Nibiru, if you get Nibiru, it's on your turn. So they don't really play board breakers going second because they have so much combo power they can take you out no matter, without breaking your board, frankly. So when they're going second, you have to break their board with Nibiru. So you have to be very prudent with when you negate. Again, save it for late in the combo. It's a kind of the opposite of what you do with a lot of other decks where you want to try to stop them early in the combo. So that's defeat number 1. And that's just something that happens when you play Hope Yu-Gi-Oh! Or you don't know the matchup very well. This is just dumb. But I'll show you why you gotta do the math. You gotta do your math before doing your full combo. So I go first, and this is against Snake Eyes. And I get Max Seed. Thankfully, I called by the grave. And I think I messed this up, I think. I'm pretty sure I don't get the full mileage out of this. So if I had, this is actually important. If I had started my combo with Marincess Sea Angel and picked up Dive right here, I would be able to climb to link 4. But because I use Seahorse's effect, in-hand effect, to summon itself from the hand, right now, I'm not able to use it later in the combo. And I end up on link 3. Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, I get that's why. I didn't even get to use Dive. Never mind. Never mind. So I would have been Ash Blossomed anyway and been stuck on link 1. So, good thing I didn't do that. That explains why I only got to link 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, I retract that. I have the trap card in my hand anyway. Okay, so I gotta stop at link 3. I considered summoning the other link 3 Marbled Rock, but I'm like, you know what? I want the regeneration effect of Coral Triangle. I'll take a slightly bigger life point hit. Okay, Debel Star, and you just want to negate Debel Star if you can, you know, because half the time that's just going to end their turn. It did not. It did not end their turn this time. They're just popping off. Yep, okay, they're summoning all their level 1s. Great, good for them. Wow. They're going to get a second Flamberge going at some point. Oh, wow. Exciting. That's some interesting tech. All right, we stop Flamberge from summoning 2 from the graveyard. You know, I don't anticipate having a huge problem with Promethean Princess. Like, we've got enough going on that I'm not concerned about Promethean Princess next turn. Because I can just Raigeki them. So, alright. And so I've got Thrust, and I use it for Duster, because you don't know what that is. And they actually make a huge mistake. They target Marincess Blue Slug, whose effect I don't really need this turn. They should have targeted either Coral Triangle, or probably, I would say the best target is probably Coral Anemone, because I then cannot use Coral Triangle's effect, and I won't be able to use Coral Anemone's effect. So that will probably cripple my combo, since I only have Seahorse in my hand. So they choose the totally wrong target for Called By. That just proves they don't know Marincess very well. But, funnily enough, this comes back to bite me at the end of the combo, as you're going to see. So, here we go. I pick up Battle Ocean. I just hope that they don't have Ash Blossom. Sometimes you have to hope that they don't have a hand trap. You just have to go for it. So, no Ash Blossom. Get the Waterlock. And I go straight into Zelantis. And this is basic math. This is what's going to happen here. This person is 6,000 life points. The way I'm going, Zelantis is 2,500, and I'm going to use this to summon Blue Slug with Battle Ocean. Now, normally, when you have 3 Link monsters you equip, with which you equip your Blue Slug, you end up at 3,500 plus 2,500 is 6K. But they have to be 3. It has to be 3 different Link monsters, and I only have 2 right now because one of them got banished. So, you're going to see what... Now, guess what happens? I don't finish him off. So, yep, I bring back the trap card, and I wipe, and guess what happens? I have 5,400 attack. And now I have to pray. I have to hope and pray that this is going to work out. All I had to do was, before I summon Zelantis, I summon Great Bubble Reef. And then I use Great Bubble Reef to summon Zelantis. I don't even need to use Bubble Reef's effects. I just need a third Link monster in my graveyard to equip to Blue Slug, and I have 600 more attack points, and I win the game on the spot. So always be really careful. Always do math. So I do my best, and I lose to Link. I lose because of Link Karibo, which evades my wave, and I'm toast. I'm just toast. Maybe I probably should have waited for Snake Eye Ash to activate its effect or something, but they still would have done the same thing. Okay, Nightmare Phoenix. Pretty unnecessary, if you ask me. We're going to send back Zelantis, so it can't use its effect during the battle phase. And that is the end of the line. So, 2 games, 2 misplays. I hope that this was a valuable short little lesson. Bye-bye for now.